Hi, I'm Phil. Welcome to Pretty Good Cooking, Garden Update 2023 edition. That's right, no updates about this garden have occurred thus far. We're in July. I don't know what day it is. This is my nanner plant. Look at my nanner. It's a nanner. It's a banana. We put a banana plant in the ground, but actually it's in a barrel. I don't expect to get any nanners off of it. This is Vinny. He's the vice principal of gardening, in that any tomatoes that I let him get to, he harvests. So he keeps me on my toes. Here, as per usual, we got the lilies that come back every year. And you can see that they're starting to crap out as it is about that time. We got the chives. And for patrons of the show, I made a fine chive salt with these very chives from my garden that I dried. And I dried some of the chive flowers, so those were the little purple bits. And it tasted quite nice. You make it fancy. Also, the skeeters are out and are nipping both me and John in the ankles. Right here in the lilies is an example of something that you can find in my garden on a perennial basis. It's called a volunteer tomato. Just kidding, that's part of this tomato plant. And never mind. Okay, this year we got a lot of tomatoes. Mainly because I was in charge of the garden this year and I really like tomatoes. So as you probably know, we had a child. And you know, early on in Arthur's life, Courtney was like, I got no time for nothing. Spring came, we were in full baby season, and I was like, well, I still want a garden, so I did most of the planting this year. And what we did this year is it was unseasonably warm in the springtime. Before, you know, we were out of the danger of another frost. So we rolled the dice. We got a 9-pack of tomatoes. Only tomatoes we could find. It was like early April or something completely ridiculous. And we planted them. And that's what most of these tomatoes are. So 7 out of the 9 tomatoes actually survived the hard frost, which was totally unexpected. We planted 9, hoping to like maybe have 3. We got 7. And they're almost all early girls. And that's what we're dealing with here. But you can see we're up to our caboose in green tomatoes, our Watuski as it were. So we've got tomatoes in spades this year, and they're actually starting to ripen. I'll show you over here. Here's one that's almost ready to be picked. We pick them pretty early around here because we got a lot of predators, both natural and unnatural. I would describe the vice principal of gardening, Vinny, as an unnatural predator, as he only has 5 teeth and a hard tomato should not be appetizing to him. Something that's interesting about these plants, so they're all these tomatoes right here in a row came from the same set, and the ones that we planted close to the lovage barely grew at all. So, you know, this big old bastard hogged most of the light, but that didn't stop these homies, these tiny plants, from growing big ass tomatoes. So I thought that was kind of funny. And they're doing all right. Something that's fun, this spot right here, we're getting a little crowded here, but this spot, last year we planted a heritage raspberry plant that we got on ultra discount. You know, it was like a dead plant that they discounted 90%. Well, guess what? It was a dead plant, it never came back. So we bought a different raspberry in the spring. We put it in the ground. We'll see how it does next year, but nothing this year. There's the big old lovage. I gotta trim that bastard back. Tastes like spicy celery. This plant right here actually has a tag in the ground, so I can tell you the scientific name is honey bales. That's not scientific. It's Cuphea hybrida. Oh, hybrida. This plant is also called a hummingbird's lunch. And the hummingbirds love this shit. I've been really disappointed in the hummingbirds this year. They're not visiting nearly enough. Very disappointed with them. So I put out the feeders, you know, with that good. Sometimes I even let it, you know, get a little alcoholic so they can have a good time. And they're like, don't want it. I've seen more hummingbirds fly in down through here and munch on these flowers than anywhere else. Bastards. Back here, this is cilantro when you let it go. All right, so cilantro when you let it go looks like this. And ultimately what we were hoping for is that it would seed over and grow more cilantro, and I think that it did. There's still some seeds on there, but you know, to be honest, it just looks ugly, so I'm gonna get rid of it. All right, we got some nicer tomatoes over here. What do we got? We got This is purple Cherokee. I just harvested a couple of those. I think that's another early girl. And then this guy is the old German. And we got a big old whopper. Look at that big boy. That's gonna be a big old fruit. In the back we're growing moonflower. Court grows that every year. And it takes 9,000 years to grow, and sometimes it flowers, but not often. This year is the best strawberry year we've ever had. These are the strawberries. They're done producing for the year, but we actually got a handful of strawberries, which for us is pretty good. This is a decorative cabbage. It's just for fun. Every year it gets bigger and gets more into the sidewalk. Okay, I was talking about volunteer tomatoes. This tomato is, I was talking about this earlier. This is a volunteer tomato. Volunteer, as in our dogs volunteered their buttholes to plant this tomato in the ground. Look at this magnificent plant. We got the cherry tomatoes growing. About knocked one off the plant right there. This whole thing came from a dog turd. And you know what that is? That's the beauty of the cycle of life. This beautiful flower right here is yarrow. Yarrow, it's a medicinal plant. Comes in many different colors. I've seen some orange and red yarrow. But it's just, mainly we just use it decoratively. And then these are maybe cucumbers? I don't really know what's growing there. We got our rose bush, mini rose. It was prettier, but now it's mostly dead. But you can see here's a little bit that's hanging on. And then we got the big old honkin' blackberry, which we've not got any blackberries yet this year, but the plant, you know, is doing its thing. You can see right here, those are the blackberries yet to come. Blackberries right there. Okay, over here, this was the primary garlic plot, and we'll round up this show. I'll show you the garlic we have dried and curing. But I just harvested this a couple weeks ago, and then we planted sunflowers. So those are sunflowers that are growing. There's mammoth sunflowers in the back and regular sunflowers in the front, so we're going for that cascade effect. That's an artistic garden term. Right here we have Amish paste tomato. It's just kind of like a Roma. You can see we got a few tomatoes on there. I've actually pulled a few tomatoes off this plant, and every single one of them was a different shape. I don't know what's up with that. It's weird. That's not normal. Right here in the box was garden plot number 2. So this was the less successful plot of garlic. Doesn't get quite as much sun, and the soil quality is a little bit different. But we harvested that just maybe 2 weeks ago. And we replanted with a variety of green beans, including colossal green beans or some shit. So we got some comically large green beans. Those are coming. I don't know what this is, but it's another hummingbird plant. It looks nice. Okay, over here, this is our kind of our shade box, and this is another cilantro plant that's gone to seed. I'm gonna let it hang out because it has some obvious seeds, which you can see here. I'll just pull off some. So that's coriander. And that'll just reseed itself. Courtney also planted some green beans in there, so you know that's a Courtney move. She sees a little open space. She's like, let me put a little green bean in there. And then we have a variety of basils. So this is this classic, maybe what is it, Genova basil? I think this is a variegated basil. And this, believe it or not, this is yet another kind of basil. I think that's Thai basil that got fried and still lived. We got parsley. This is bee balm. Bee balm has a beautiful flower, and the bees love it. And then you rub a bee balm on a bee, and the pain is gone. I don't know if that's true. We got rhubarb right there in the back, and that's that. Over here, here's the last tomato of the set that I'm aware of. These are lemon boys, and these are just about ripe. Might even pick one of them. I think I'll pick this big fatty lemon boy. I forget what it was. I think we put peas or something in these pots, and something ate them. So then I went to the store. It was kind of late in the season. They didn't have that much stuff. So this is a zucchini and this is a squash. Now, if you know anything about gardening, these are way overcrowded. There's just too much going on in here. But I figured, let me just throw them in there and see what happens. What's the worst that could happen? And they're doing pretty good actually. But something came through. Let's check out this damage. Some came through and just chomped some of the zucchini tops. I don't really know what happened there. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. This is our dilly, and this plant is just about done. I wouldn't eat any of this crap. It's pretty much garbage at this point. We got some cucumbers. This is not really an ideal place to grow cucumbers, but you can see we got some very tiny gherkins right here. Cucumbers need a lot more room than this, but we're just gonna try to train them up the trellis, I think. I think that's the idea here. Here's the perennial Hillary Clinton mint, apparently from her garden. Grows bigger every year. Still tastes terrible. We got a jalapeno here, I think. Jalapeno or serrano. You can see we got big old peps, but not much of a plant. But the tomatillo is truly the star of this box. Look at that big old bitch. This is a Fresno pepper, and I actually picked a couple of these recently. They're bright red and quite tasty. This is a pepper called Big Jim, and Courtney planted it. I don't know anything about it. I think this is a Fresno or Serrano. What did I pick? Well, I thought I picked Fresnos, but they were large, red, thick cayennes that looked a lot like Fresnos. So there's that. And we got a habanero right there. Over here we got, that's some like orange mint or something. And then this is the mint we use for cocktails that just grows nicely in here. It's this big spearmint. And we'll conclude with these nice canna flowers, which come back every year, and I think they look nice. Okay, that's it. No, that's not it. I gotta show you the garlic. Okay, so I did an experiment this year, which is I'm drying some of my garlic in the garage. I usually dry it in my basement, which is not ideal. It's kind of wet down there. But I've been drying this out here. It's actually worked pretty darn good. It's been drying real fast. But this is that box garlic, so a lot of it's much smaller. I thought it'd be fun to show you guys today how I process the garlic for final presentation. So we'll bring this inside and I'll show you how I do that. Alright, so don't look too hard at my basement, but I wanted to show you the big garlic that I grew this year, because we grew some of the biggest garlic I've ever grown. Look at the size of that guy. Absolutely massive. Look at that. That's completely ridiculous. That's not elephant garlic. That's regular big garlic. Anyways, I just wanted to show you my big garlic. That's it. Here's some of the produce that I've harvested so far. So we got those Cherokee tomatoes, and these I think are Fresno peppers, but maybe they're not. Okay, let me show you how I do a garlic for presentation. So you know that it's been fully cured when the plant is pretty much completely dried, and you got a nice papery skin. So let me just show you how to transform this right quick. You get a nice stem. I like to feel the top, and it's completely dry, which is a good sign. And then if there's a scrappy outside, I usually peel that right off, and we give it a haircut. And if you want to brush it, you can, but we're actually going to use some of this garlic tonight on the show. And there you go, there's a ready to go homegrown garlic. How cool is that? So that's our garden update 2023. Might be the only one you get. That's kind of how things go these days. But patrons can look forward to some garlic headed their way soon. That's a tradition. If you want to give the show money, that's your choice. I ain't got nothing else to say about it. All right, have a good one. That's how you do it. That's how you do all those things that I talked about. And I'm gonna go make dinner. Okay, bye.